p.m. as we turn the ticket into a skate park. You heard that right, a skate park, and also highlight the upcoming year for Husker baseball with players from the team. Again, that's 5 to 8 p.m. this Friday, February 6th, for a live broadcast of Culture and Coffee from 5 to 7 p.m. and a Vintage Market Plus skate experience hosted by the Bowie Boys from 7 to 8 p.m. This is a party you won't want to miss.
93.7 The Ticket Sports News go now.
This is Nick Weimer with your sports update. A new addition to Nebraska's coaching staff is leaving the Cornhuskers for a job in the NFL. Safeties coach Miles Taylor will be joining new Baltimore Ravens head coach Jesse Minter in Baltimore as the assistant defensive backs coach. In January, Taylor agreed to become a defensive backs coach at Nebraska, where he was set to work with the team's safeties. He was following new Nebraska defensive coordinator Rob Ulrich, who Taylor previously worked with at South Dakota. In other news surrounding Nebraska football, the Huskers picked up a commitment from class of 2026 defensive lineman Dylan Berryman. He chose Nebraska over Kentucky. Berryman is the 250th overall player in the 2026 class, 26th overall defensive lineman, and 9th overall player in his class from the state of Louisiana. He most recently visited Lincoln on January 9th. The Louisiana native recorded 49 tackles and 4 sacks in 15 games this past season. For the second straight year, Nebraska volleyball will play a match at Pinnacle Bank Arena in Lincoln. The Huskers, coming off an Elite Eight run before losing to eventual national champions Texas A&M, will host Creighton at Pinnacle Bank Arena this fall. Nebraska head coach Danny Busboom Kelly announced the news during an interview on Wednesday. The date and time for this match between the Cornhuskers and the Blue Jays at Pinnacle Bank Arena will be announced at a later date. Former Colorado State head coach Jay Norvell is joining the staff at Iowa as an offensive analyst. Norvell spent 9 seasons as a head coach at Colorado State and Nevada. Norvell is an Iowa graduate and played 4 seasons with the Hawkeyes' football program. And for all the latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here at 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Ticket Weeknights. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. We got Tristan Gomes joining me to my left. We're going to talk quite a bit of Husker athletics here, but we'll sneak in some NBA trade talk as well. If you guys want to join in, 402-464-5685, Facebook, YouTube, X, Al Channel 961. Great ways to put a face to the voice. Tristan, how's it going? February 4th, already a month into 2026.
Not too bad. Yeah, a lot of sports to be talked about right now. We got the Super Bowl coming up. We have the NBA trade deadline. And then obviously, I didn't think we would have these conversations about Husker hoops and be so excited about them. Obviously, coming off 2 losses, but still a lot to be excited about.
Yeah, and it's a little bit different. We're not coming off 2 losses to bad teams like we have in a lot of previous years. It'll be plenty of good things to talk about. I have not got your opinion on that Illinois game yet. I talked to Nick Wyman. I've talked to just about everybody yet. I don't want to spend forever on it. But the Huskers lose that one. What are your initial thoughts when you were watching that game and then immediately after when the clock hit 0?
Yeah, I think a lot of people expected them to bounce back from that Michigan game and just be ready to go, locked back in. But, I mean, you have to understand, it was Frager's first game back. You had Rank, who was dealing with an unbelievable flu, like just sounded absolutely
awful. Didn't know he had to go to the ER.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, man. It was really down bad.
Yeah, which honestly might make it even tougher for Nebraska, is that you have Frager slowly trying to inch his way back, and then you also have Rank, who is not feeling great at all. And so how much value does that really, bring or help out in a game like this? But I think they played well. I mean, I think Illinois is arguably the hottest team, one of the hottest teams in the country right now.
Yeah.
And that's lost to Nebraska in Champaign, just kind of lit a fire under them. And they've been going off ever since and have one of the most talented freshmen in the country. So although it did happen at PBA and it's frustrating to see the Huskers lose back to back, it's to 2 top 10 teams. Like, it's not like these are the losses, like you said in the past, that are to a Northwestern or to a Minnesota or something like that. Like, these are some tough losses, and I think helps Nebraska going forward as they inch closer to the Big Ten tournament and March Madness.
Yeah, you don't want to peak too early, and not to say that the Huskers did, but the regular season isn't everything. If it was, the volleyball team wouldn't, be upset for the past 4 years, because they've had really, really incredible, a couple of undefeated seasons in there. But obviously the goal is still win the national championship. That's no shot at those guys. They've been incredible. But just to say, Yeah, these two losses, they're not great, but they're not doomed by any means. It's your point, two top 10 teams. Obviously, a little bit of old news, but they lose 78-69 in that game versus Illinois. But at the very least, you split the series because you did steal one at home. The Big Ten is still in sight if you want to win that, because then you have Rutgers. Purdue will very likely be that next toughest game for us. And then after that, as it sits right now, you don't have another ranked opponent. When you start to look at Michigan State's schedule, Michigan's schedule, Illinois' schedule, they have a lot of those ranked games still coming up left, where I think that might help out. How many games can Nebraska afford to lose if they're going to go win the Big Ten as a whole? Because they're not going to get a rematch versus Michigan. So they
no
need
rematch
Michigan to
against
slip
Michigan. And Michigan's still only at that one loss, correct, to Wisconsin?
I believe so. I will double check.
I believe if Michigan's still at that one loss, I think you have to win this Penn State or this Purdue game, and then you go just run the table. Because, I mean, it's Rutgers, it's Purdue, and then no one else is ranked on the schedule, I believe, as of right now. And so you go through and you just finish those games that you take care of business like you have all season. And Purdue's, struggling as well. So that's another team that is, a good win on a resume, but also they're not playing their best basketball. So I think you need Michigan to lose, one or two. You need Illinois to lose, one or two. And if Nebraska just takes care of business, and I think the rest of the games on their schedule, we wouldn't have probably thought this at the beginning of the season, but these are all games that Nebraska should win.
Yeah, even the Purdue game.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
That's crazy to think, when Zach Edey walked into Lincoln, Nebraska a few years ago and Nebraska knocked him off, no one ever would have said, right. Nebraska's supposed to beat Purdue. But yeah, that's how we're feeling right now these are games that Nebraska should win.
Yeah, and I looked it up. Michigan, so they do still only have that one loss to Wisconsin. But you look ahead, they have, this is what I mean, they still got a tough stretch. So when they get to the 17th of this month, they'll run into number 12 Purdue. And your hope is they're looking ahead too much and they drop that game because it's at Purdue as well, which is a tough environment. But then they have number 4 Duke right after, which that's not going to hurt them in the Big Ten, but putting those two games close together is tough. And then they get Minnesota, and then it's a road game versus Illinois, which that's a battle. I think Illinois is significantly better than even when we first saw them around. At least that's the way they're playing. And then they finish the year with, of course, number 10, Michigan State. So they still got 1, 2, 3 ranked opponents left on the schedule. And then you go to Illinois, who they only have the one Big Ten loss as well. Credit to us, but they still have, they got a little bit easier, but they got number 10 Michigan State at Michigan State, and they still have to play Michigan at home. So they got a tough couple of games left. So those are kind of the teams we're looking at. Because I think what is Michigan State? They're in the same spot as us. They got 2 Big Ten losses, and they still have to play number 3 Illinois and number 12 Purdue and number 2 Michigan. So again, it does kind of set up to where if you can beat Purdue, don't overlook Rutgers, obviously, because that is a road trip to Piscataway, 11 a.m. So hopefully you don't get a sleepy performance there. But if you do knock down Purdue, you do like your odds looking at the rest of the schedule compared to everybody else who still has that top tier of the Big Ten left.
Yeah, and especially if you're Michigan and you ranked top 5 and you've established yourself kind of in that position, and you have Purdue right before Duke in the middle of the season, like Duke is a big game. Obviously, it's not a conference game, but if you're Michigan, you want to go, yeah, we're better than Duke. We should be ranked higher than them. We should be the number 2 team in the country. We win that one, possibly put us in number 1, and you're in competition with Arizona. But yeah, I think that could easily be a game that Purdue steals from Michigan at home. You're going to have a lot of hype around it. So Nebraska really is, out of all these, top 4 teams when it comes down to Michigan, Michigan State, Illinois. I think Purdue already has a few losses. So just Nebraska. So those 4, Nebraska has the easiest schedule the rest of the way, and they've taken care of business previously in this conference for this year. And so I think all it comes down to is just win the games that you should win, which you could say is all of them.
Yeah, it's man, it's just incredible that we're in this position. To the texter here, 8985 says we should be favored and win the rest of our games until the Big Ten tournament. Yeah, we will be. Except for the road games, there'll be some of those road games where they might give a slight edge to the other opponent, just kind of depending. But for the most part, I think we will be favored in a lot of these. Is Purdue at home? It is at home. So yeah, we will be favored in that game. And I know Rutgers, that one's on the road, but I don't know. They won't put the odds out yet, but I imagine Nebraska will be significantly favored. Yeah, I don't see actually any of these games where Nebraska is not going to be favored anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that this Nebraska team has a shot with, a few teams losing a few. They have a shot of being the 1 seed in the Big Ten tournament. Like no one would ever at the beginning of the season thought that. I think they were 14th or 13th preseason ranking when it came to the
third
Big Ten.
from last.
Yeah, and now they're fighting for that one spot, and just got to get back on track a little bit. I don't think it's not like these losses have been games that you watch Nebraska play and you go, they've played horrible. Like this is what we expected. It's just, yeah, they've played some really good opponents, some hot opponents, and they didn't come out on top. But the adversity now, I think, makes it better. We've talked about the Kentucky teams that have been undefeated going into March Madness, and then they face a little adversity and they don't know how to respond. I think these losses, have taught, this team, all right, yeah, we're going to lose. But when we do get down, we already know we can come back. So I think it just helps them with their composure and just chemistry a little bit more.
Yeah, things to watch out for because their 2 losses, Michigan, Illinois, you can make an argument. They beat you the same way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they beat you on the free throw line by being more aggressive, just by being bigger, simply. Yeah. They kind of beat you there. And Illinois didn't ever, or actually, yeah, they did. They did bust out a zone. Michigan never really busted out a zone, I don't think. But maybe we'll start seeing some of that more. Mm-hmm. Versus bigger teams, but it's good for Nebraska to have a plan for that now. And they did kind of work through that in that game. You saw when that 2-3 zone first broke out, Nebraska was stuck in the mud. Their offense looked stagnant.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it looked really easy where it's like, we'll just set a back screen. Yeah. And then all of a sudden that corner 3 is wide open. Braden Fragers knocks one down. Mm-hmm. And then you see, okay, Illinois, they have to adjust because Nebraska's starting to get hot from 3. So it is good to see some of those problems that they actively fixed during that game, because we'll probably see that come up again later. And now they have an answer for it.
Yeah. And I think it would be good for Nebraska after these 2 games to some high quality opponents is realize, all right, maybe we aren't getting to the rim as much as we probably should. Yeah. Understandably, you're one of the best shooting teams in the country. So you're going to, that's your bread and butter. You're going to use it. But, towards the end of the games, when another team's in the double bonus and you're not even in the bonus yet, it makes it tough, with those fouls. And, I think, in the Michigan game, there definitely were some questionable calls. But I think it definitely goes to show that Nebraska could get down a little bit more. I think having Rink healthy and him getting in the paint a little bit more will help. And, I think Price's best games are the ones where he is knocking down threes. We see him get in the lane, get to the rim, and get some buckets around there. So I think, just after these games, you just go, all right, how can we get to the rim a little bit? Maybe, create a little bit more contact because we know we're going to knock down the 3. Like that's a given. That's our bread and butter.
I think that's the key, creating the contact.
Yeah.
Because we're really good at getting backdoor cuts untouched.
Yeah. There's a lot of wide open layups.
Which is great on our offense. And it really shows to the playmaking ability of this team and the way they operate. But there's got to be a few times in there where I think it'll help when Rink Mask gets a little bit healthier, of course. But even a guy like Garcia, if you're going to get in there, because he's kind of fallen off, it feels like a little bit as far as his role was earlier in the season. He was getting a little bit more run. But like in this game with Illinois, you got a Rink Mast who does not look great.
Yeah.
And you kind of want to put Garcia in there, but you don't necessarily trust him yet. Like a guy like him would be great if you can see his development, or any of the guards, like go downhill. That's what you saw Michigan doing and Illinois doing a lot, creating the contact. Like I'll meet you there. Majority of the time, if you're the offensive player, you're going to get the benefit of the doubt. We saw that with Sam Hoiberg clear as day. Mm-hmm. So you got to take advantage of that. And I think these 2 games, maybe the height was a little bit intimidating is why they weren't. But, there's 2 ways to beat those guys. Like you get them in foul trouble or you kill them with small ball. Mm-hmm. And we just unfortunately weren't able to completely do that versus either of those opponents. But I thought at least you picked up some things from it. Any concerns with teams like Michigan or Illinois, or do you think these 2 lessons are good enough to kind of get us over the hump?
I think the losses are definitely, you look at those and you go, okay, yes, these are some things that we needed to fix. Because in previous games, it has just been all Nebraska, and it seems like Nebraska will, be down. We saw in the Indiana game, and they'll find a way to go on a run. And so if that game turns into a loss, you probably take a lot more away from it and go, okay, yes, this is what we need to work on. From these 2 games against some high-quality opponents who, once you get to March Madness, Nebraska, they win their first, tournament game. They're playing tougher opponents. They, make it to the Sweet 16, which I think is almost expectation right now, which is crazy to think. We're expecting them to make the Sweet 16, but we almost expect that you're going to be playing some tough opponents. So yeah, it is, how can we get a little bit more physical? And if we are, have some refs who are going to call a lot of fouls, but we're not drawing contact, it's going to be tough when one team's shooting 19 free throws and we're shooting 4. So I think just, the physicality is something that they just need to, maybe get downhill, draw some contact. And then, how are you going to adjust when you do play some bigger teams like a Michigan, like in Illinois, but I think for the most part, they've done a good job of that.
Yeah, and it was kind of nice to have these back to back because I know in the first game with Michigan, like the free throw discrepancy was a big part of the conversation, and I think it was totally fair because there was some stuff in there. I was like, okay, what are we doing here? That's kind of ridiculous. But then you go to this Illinois game, and then you do get a little bit of truth of like, okay, but also we aren't attacking the rim like these other teams are, and that's why the free throws are so low. Because the Michigan game, I had some problems with the officiating, and as soon as that happens, you kind of just look with a jaded eye at that discrepancy. But then versus Illinois, I thought the officiating was actually really good. Maybe there's a couple calls. Maybe they could call like not shooting fouls on a couple of holding grabs from Sanford when he's trying to run off screens. But for the most part, I thought it was a really clean officiated game. And the free throw discrepancy was still there. So we can't just say, well, it was just bad officiating. Like, no, there is some truth to it that not that they can't do it, but they haven't necessarily put a focus on it. And when the 3-point shot goes ice cold like that, you have to figure something out. Get to the line, see a couple go through, make life a little bit easier on you. With that being said, though, let's talk a little NBA because we got a little while yet. It's 11 a.m. on the 7th. I think that's Saturday, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Saturday. So we got some time before we go ahead and play Rutgers. We won't preview that game just yet, but we did have some trades. This one came through today. The Cleveland Cavaliers receive James Harden. The LA Clippers receive Darius Garland and a future second-round pick. Your thoughts?
I'm excited if I'm the Clippers. I think, I'm a huge fan of Garland. I think he's one of the best kind of, game managers in the league when it comes to being a point guard that can get his own bucket, but he's also a great facilitator and makes guys around him better. And if you're the Clippers, you wanted when you got James Harden and he was coming to Hollywood, you just thought, all right, this is going to be the guy that's going to be our bucket getter. He's going to be our scorer. Hopefully he can facilitate a little bit. Now you have Darius Garland, who's going to do exactly that, and it's going to happen. I think for the past few years, we've seen a little bit of inconsistency out of James Harden and almost him just wanting to get his. It's an interesting trade for the Cavs. I mean, I know they're, I believe, 5th in the East is what you said.
Yep, sitting at 5th, 31 or 30-something and 21.
5th in the East, but still you have a pretty great roster, and you have one of the best scorers in Donovan Mitchell. And so I think if maybe their goal is, if we just add another scorer, it's going to help both of them maybe get a few more buckets. But I mean, from what we've seen from James Harden, it seems like everywhere he goes, it just does not end well. And there's always got to be some sort of problem. So I'm not sure if the Cavs are just willing to put up with that or what their thought process was there.
Yeah, well, let's get into some more of these crazy trades because the Washington Wizards have been busy. They're trying to put a version of a super team together. They have added Trae Young, and now they have also added Anthony Davis to the Washington Wizards. We went from Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma to Anthony Davis and Trae Young before you know it. Thoughts on the Wizards' major rebranding?
I love it, but I mean, you have Anthony Davis, who's continuously injury prone, and then Trae Young, who's also injured right now. And so maybe it's just we can make a run at the end of the season when they're both healthy, hopefully, or this is, for the future. And hopefully in the next few seasons, we have 2 all-stars that can play well together and get us into the postseason and hopefully further into the postseason. But I mean, Trae Young pretty much led the Hawks to the postseason by himself. He beat the Knicks pretty much by himself in that postseason.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And it was super fun to watch. And so if you have that and you pair him up with one of the elite bigs in the NBA, like just think of the pick and roll and just the, headache that's going to be for opposing defenses. I like it. And if you're the Wizards, what do you have to lose? Like, it's not like you've had a whole bunch going for you lately. Might as well just go all out and say, we're going to bring in 2 all-stars and we're going to see what happens here.
I'm not as high on it.
Really?
No, I just think like you got a lot of you got a very young team, a bunch of younger guys, and you kind of gutted a lot of those younger players for this trade to happen and a lot of your future capital. And now you're getting a guy who's just been injury prone nonstop. And then Trae Young does not excite me whatsoever.
Yeah.
He's great on offense when he's going. When he's not hitting on offense, he is a defensive liability. Yeah. Every action goes at Trae Young. That's what I mean. So Anthony Davis obviously is going to the Washington Wizards alongside D'Angelo Russell, Dante Exum, and Jaden Hardy for Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Malik Branham, Marvin Bagley, 2 first-round picks from the Thunder in 2026 and the Warriors 2030, and 3 second-round picks. Still a sweet deal. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
For 2 players to me that have kind of always underwhelmed me. I get that you're in a desperate spot and you haven't had much success, but that one, I don't know. That seems like a lot of future for something that feels, again, like a short lifespan. I don't know how long this thing's going to work.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm dead wrong and it's awesome.
No, I mean, I totally agree with you. You're bringing in a lot of older guys and almost hoping it's this kind of similar to, I think, Cleveland bringing in James Harden is you're bringing in guys that were talented and still are, but like you can kind of tell that they're past their, best years, and Anthony Davis and James Harden. And with Anthony Davis, you don't know how many games he's even going to play.
Yeah.
And you're putting a lot into bringing him in and giving a lot away. So I do agree with you there. I think if they are healthy, they could be a force to be reckoned with. And by that mean maybe make the playoffs. But I saw a crazy thing that like Cooper Flag, Kyrie, and Anthony Davis never played a single game together in Dallas. And that's mostly because Anthony Davis has been hurt and so has Kyrie, but Anthony Davis for the most part. And so I'm not sure what the Wizards thought process was with that. If both of them are healthy at the same time, this could be something good for them, but that's a lot of hope.
GM might have just been thinking too, like if I don't get a deal together, I'm fired.
Yeah.
Like I have to figure out something before this trade deadline closes, which sounds stupid, but it's kind of a real thing that happens. NFL, NBA, like these GMs, especially when you see a new GM, they make splash moves.
Yeah.
They come in there and they swing big, and sometimes it works. A lot of times it falls flat on its face and they're out of there given in 3-5 years or so. But yeah, I mean, this is a lot of future capital. Like I said, maybe it works out great. I'm not buying any stock into it. Even if they are good, are they better than the Celtics? Are they better than the Cavs? Are they better than even, well, we'll see. Where do you think Giannis goes?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, and that's
because Milwaukee should be down now. So you don't have to worry about them. I was thinking of at least the Big East is still the New York Knicks. That'll be another good team in there.
Yeah. But I'm just curious what's going to be given up for him, though. If the Wizards are sending all that for Anthony Davis, what's going to be sent for Giannis?
I think my Bulls are going to overpay like hell.
Yeah.
I feel like the Bulls have been trying to get him in there because obviously the Bulls are in a little bit of a refix. They traded off Vucevic away to the Boston Celtics. So it's officially that time in the NBA where we got players moving everywhere. There's a couple of the main ones. Again, very surprising with the Wizards. The Gonaz to pull that one off. That is a lot of future capital that you're putting in for this thing to work out. We'll see if it does. But in the meantime, we do got to throw it to break. Don't go anywhere. 93.7 The Ticket. Harrison Arens, Tristan Gomes. We'll talk to you in a bit.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service, bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
A membership with John Henry's will fast track you to front of the line service, seasonal tune-ups, and far fewer unexpected moments. That means no breakdowns, no waiting on a call, and no nonsense. It's consistent care that prevents small issues from turning into big bills. Join the Comfort Club and get VIP treatment 365 days a year with 24-hour priority response, member-only discounts, and peace of mind on your home's most expensive systems. Call John Henry's.
John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air.
And electrical.
Flowers and chocolate are great for Valentine's Day, but you know what really earns you bonus points? A massage. No, not from you, but from the professionals at The Body Shop. Now is the time to purchase a gift certificate for your significant other to make sure you're the big winner this Valentine's Day. Go to thebodyshoplincoln.com and select from their wide variety of specific massages. Once you've purchased, you can either print out the certificate or email it to the lucky recipient. Do Valentine's Day right this year with a massage from The Body Shop, right behind Eyeglass World at 56th and O.
Stop asking your friends if they're hosting a party this Sunday and come join the real party instead. Join 93.7 The Ticket for the Super Bowl at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O this Sunday and walk away with great prizes just for showing up. Why worry about making a great spread of food for the game at your house when you can enjoy all the great wings and more at Buffalo Wings and Rings? It's the Super Bowl party with 93.7 The Ticket at Buffalo Wings and Rings this Sunday at 68th and O.
Every winter, I struggle with feeling sluggish and down. I've read about the benefits of red light systems, but trying the Spectrum 7 at MaxTan has become my bright spot. A few sessions of full body red light, and I'm more energized and centered. It's my go-to winter boost, MaxTan.
The Black Crows are coming to Pinewood Bowl on Tuesday, August 4th, and we want to give you the chance to win free tickets. Tune in all week long for chances to win a pair of tickets each day on The Drive with me, Nick Sainert, and Aaron Davis this week only.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and wow, what a year it was at Koppel. The Koppel family would like to say thank you for a record-setting sales year in 2025. Now let's start 2026 off with the bang. New GMC Sierra pickups starting at $12,500 off list or 0% APR. Also hot off the presses, new Terrain leases at $299 per month. That's right, $299 per month on new GMC Terrain leases. So please stop on in the store or online at koppelcars.com. Stock numbers G13885 and G16518. 2,500 down with proof credit.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
A new year means it's time to try new things. If you haven't tried Führer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For the days you don't want to go to the gym, don't worry. Führer's cheese spread is there to cheer you up. And for the days you do get to the gym, why not celebrate when you get back with the best dip around? Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Führer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
Stop into Zollner Ford Beatrice and check out a brand new 2026 Ford Explorer for only $39,995. That's right, under $40,000 for a brand new Explorer, loaded with extras like Copilot 360, second row captain's chairs, and more. With approved credit, receive financing as low as 2.9%. Treat mom to a new Explorer for Valentine's Day this year from Zollner Ford Beatrice, Nebraska's volume dealer with the hometown service you expect. MSRP $45,175.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions. Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. Tristan Gomes to my left. If you guys want to join in, Starter Heyman text line still open. Let's get to a couple of them before we transition over to football. This one scares me. Dirty Tony and the boys talking some NBA here. We talked about it. Giannis potentially going to be somewhere else. I think that's kind of just waiting to figure out which team he may land on. They're probably getting a ton of phone calls trying to make the best deal possible. But he says Giannis and LeBron both go to the Cleveland with Harden. I'd actually watch. That sounds incredible.
I think I would watch. I think I would be very frustrated, though, and just be like, what has happened to the game of basketball? That would be crazy. But do you, like...
I don't know how you'd be so far up into that second tax apron. You would be paying, like...
Yeah.
To have those three players on the court. I mean, those are all veteran players, too. Their contracts.
Yeah.
They're in those super veteran deals.
I mean, you would literally have to... You would have those three, and then you would have to just bring up some G League players to like pay those contracts.
Yeah. So it'd be incredible, but I don't know how you make that work considering what they have. I mean, maybe you'd have to completely gut everybody there, and it would look a little bit like the big three with LA, where you're kind of sitting there like, well, I guess no, because they traded Anthony Davis for Luka.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen the magnitude of three players all that good, especially having LeBron, who's going to have one of the highest contracts. That, like I said, you'd be so far up into that tax apron. It'd be pretty hard to keep that together. With that being said, though, let's move on to football. Quick news here. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but this piqued my eyebrow, and we talked about it over the break. Former Husker commit Dayton Raiola will join his brother at Oregon, not as a quarterback, transitioning to tight end. I don't know if you have anything to add on that, but that's surprising.
That is extremely surprising. And honestly, like, I don't want to speak negatively or anything.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be
especially
mean
like
here,
a high school recruiter, a guy, going to be a freshman in college, but like, he had other offers to like play quarterback. And looking at Oregon's tight end room, like they just had three guys transferred that were tight ends that are going to like they're going to Penn State, they're going elsewhere. And like they have good guys in that tight end room. Like you just lose Kenyon Sadiq, and then you have two guys coming back who have played solid time for them, a whole bunch of snaps. So I don't understand it. Like, it was like, bet on yourself, like go have your own path, do your own thing. Whether that is that, maybe a smaller school where you do get to play quarterback and, by the end of it, you are transferring to a power 4 as a quarterback, probably like what you've played your whole life. So super interesting. And yeah, like we talked about, off air, are you a package deal? Like, go do your own thing.
I never understand that part. Like I said, I don't want to disparage the young kid, because that'd be just me and me, considering like he's still young and you're not always going to make the perfect decisions. But I don't always get the package deal. To your point, go bet on yourself. Nowadays, you get like 6 years in college.
Yeah.
Like, you got time. So you can't have one of those careers where if you really want to bet on yourself, go JUCO, do 2 years for free. Then you can have like 8 years of college football if you really want to play the system there. But, hopefully it works out for him. But, you look in that room and I don't know. Are you really going to be that successful if you're transitioning to tight end all of a sudden after having
we saw Heinrich Harburg do it. Like, it's tough. Like, it's really hard to. And the thing about tight end too, way different from quarterback, is you're blocking too.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you just get to go out there and just catch passes. It's all fun and games. Like, you got to get physical. And that's tough going from being a quarterback where you're just the guy with the ball making plays. And now you got to get in the trenches a little bit.
Yeah. And if you're in pro left and, it's play action and, you got, a great outside linebacker.
Yeah.
How comfortable are you blocking elite rushers? And that's the stuff that you might have to deal with, to your point, just any sort of run block. So very surprising to see him make that transition. Best of luck to him. But like I said, was not expecting that whatsoever. Let's talk a little bit about the Pro Bowl. Did you watch it?
I watched a little bit
of
it.
Pro Bowl games. It's not even really a Pro Bowl anymore.
Pro Bowl flag football game.
Yeah. Basically. I don't know. It just kind of feels like it's dead. You had it. So before, when you had the two like football leagues, there was like kind of a little bit of like where I think that Pro Bowl really started, because you had, the National Football League and the American Football League, and it was two different ones. And then it started, and that Pro Bowl was kind of like, we'll see who's really the best here after that merger. And then as time went on, kind of with all these pro sports, the more money that gets involved into it, the more investments the players become. And when you have an investment that's millions of dollars, you don't really want to play a game just to prove it at that point. Like, this is investment. I'm not here to play games. I don't want any sort of injury risk whatsoever for my guys. And then you'll have guys just simply opt out, not want to do it. And then you have Shedeur Sanders and Joe Flacco. Like, how do you have two Browns quarterbacks? We all just saw the Browns season. And we're telling me we got two Browns Pro Bowlers.
It's honestly, it's just unfortunate. I mean, because like you look at some of these other like older Pro Bowl games and you watch the guys walk out of the locker room and they're fired up. Like, like, especially because they're guys that didn't make it to the Super Bowl and they go, all right, I get another game to show that like I'm the best in this league. And I mean, you saw like, I've just saw a clip of Chad Ochocinco lining up and just going like, I'm going to dominate whoever. And he's going against the best corners in the league. And he's like, I'm going to dominate whoever's guarding me, and just prove to them like no one in this league can guard me, not even the best. And it's just unfortunate now. Like, you watched the game yesterday and it's obviously just high scoring, and no one was, really interested. The announcers made it somewhat fun, but it still wasn't like electric by any means. Super slow.
I think the final score yesterday was like 52 to
68. I think.
It was not a great, like, I mean, that's what you expect.
Yeah. And I you're right. It comes down to these players are getting paid a lot of money and it's a huge investment, but on a Tuesday too, like just on a random Tuesday.
Used to be on the day before the Super Bowl.
I think, yeah. And now it's just like, oh, I got home yesterday from here and turned on TV and I was like, oh, the Pro Bowl's on. Like, I didn't even really like have it on my calendar. And yeah, it's just, I mean, yeah, you said it perfectly. Joe Flacco and Shedeur Sanders, who had more interceptions than touchdowns thrown.
Yeah, 7 to 10.
And he's a Pro Bowler. Yeah.
Like I said, if it's Shedeur Sanders, hell yeah, take the jersey. Like, you get to say you're a Pro Bowler. I don't know what you do though, because you don't want to take it away, because you do kind of get to the end of some of these careers, and I was like X time Pro Bowler, and at one point that really mattered, because you had to be legit that good, and you'd actually go play in the Pro Bowl. Now it's already kind of lost a little bit of meaning. It's devalued. Shedeur can say he was a Pro Bowler, which if he's 70 and tells that to a kid, the kid's gonna think, wow, he was incredible. It's like, well, we don't know yet, but at least this season he wasn't. He looked like a rookie quarterback. Can you fix it anyway? Like, because you don't want to scrap it. Like, you could, I guess, scrap it and then still select Pro Bowlers, but you don't play a game.
That's what I was thinking is, yeah, you just select, guys that, the Pro Bowlers. And so it means something like, yeah, we're only going to choose the top, players at each position to, be a Pro Bowler. And then, yeah, if you want to do something like, I mean, you have the Pro Bowl games or whatever, but I mean, like their viewership has to go down too. Like, it's not like the NFL is making a whole bunch of money off of this either.
I think that's why they moved it to Tuesday. So
yeah,
like, it's an expensive thing to get on that prime time on Sunday night, the day before the Super Bowl. Yeah, it's not like a lot of people were watching it anyways. It's like, let's just move it to Tuesday.
Exactly. Yeah. And it does mean something now that, when you are looking at Hall of Fame resumes and you just go, yeah, this guy was an 8-time Pro Bowler. Well, you could look at a guy and say, well, he was a 4-time Pro Bowler. And it's because all 4 seasons, the 4 guys ahead of him opted out from the Pro Bowl.
Yep.
So does it really mean that much? Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm curious because every year I feel like it's gotten just worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. And I like the games element part of it. They're trying that. A little bit like the NBA All-Star game where they have the skills competition, the 3-point shooting contest. Maybe you do more of that and you do just kind of cut it out. Like, listen, we all know that no one's going to go like head on compete, but maybe side by side, like a QB throwing competition, accuracy contest, fastest man contest. I don't know what you could all do, but if you just want to get something out there, I think that's the direction you have to start leaning.
Yeah, I agree. If you just do like a little bit of a skills competition and kind of call it good, just see, who is the fastest guy in the league, or, you have the throwing competition. What I always think is like pretty entertaining, but they've also done that for years, even prior to the Pro Bowl anyway, when it was full pads and everything.
Yeah, that's true.
And I mean, that was so much fun. And you got to see, which quarterback can actually throw it the furthest. And then we're going to watch them play in the Pro Bowl and Sean Taylor's going to lay out Tom Brady. Like, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like this game really means nothing, but guys just want to show that they're the best in this league. Yeah, I mean, money, and I think we've seen it in college football too. It's just, I feel like the love of the game is kind of diminishing just a little bit. Obviously the guys still love it, but the money is playing such a bigger part in it.
Well, that's always my theory too, as to why sports feel a little bit different today and why the athletes treat it different. I'm not saying that they're wrong too, but back in the day, if you were the worst player on the team, you weren't making a ton of money. And you're still making $1 million cool and easy if you're the worst player. So like, how much is the desire to be the greatest if just being okay is a life-changing generational money? And that's just you being in the middle of the pack. Like, obviously you're elite, but within the NFL or within the NBA, like if you're just average or even bad, and that group, that 1% of athletes, you're still making just an insane amount of wealth that, I wonder, some people are just like, as long as I get the next contract, I don't really care if we win or if I have a significant jump. Like, that'd be great, but I'm still collecting my paycheck. So it's not as competitive. At least that's the theory. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I completely agree. I think it is kind of just the idea of, all right, I'm going to get my paycheck. And I think we're seeing it in the NFL, especially because a lot of that money isn't guaranteed. And so it's, I'm not going to risk anything that I do get injured or, really push myself or do anything extraordinary, because if I do get hurt, I'm losing out on a whole bunch of money. And, I made it to the NFL so I can make a whole bunch of this money. I think we're seeing it a decent amount just on like, I respect it, but some receivers will have like, they could get 10 more yards and they just get out of bounds, which they're just like protecting themselves. But also it's like back in the day, like you would go like lower a shoulder into a guy to see as many, like try to get as many yards as you possibly can. So it's tough because you want these guys to take care of themselves and you want to be able to watch them for a whole bunch of years to come. But yeah, it does feel like there's just a huge difference in just the will and the want to, be the best.
Yeah, that's what happens. Jacked a lot of money into it. Again, that's fair. I think I understand why those guys do it, but there's a reason why I call it like the contract year. Everyone's like, well, it's a contract year for him, so we'll probably have a great year. Like, they put a little bit of extra sauce when they know that money is going to be on the table and they're going to be at a point where they're going to negotiate soon. Don't know if it's really a fixable problem, but that's kind of why I think it tied in with everything with the NBA All-Star game. And then of course the NFL Pro Bowl, why that stuff just seems to matter less and less. I don't know if there's an actual fix. It might just be one of those things that it's how it is now. It's just the different era of athletes with those extracurricular activities. All right. With that being said, we do got to throw it to our final break. On the other side, we'll talk about the Nebraska football special teams situation right here on 93.7 The Ticket. Myself, Tristan Gomez. We'll talk to you in a bit.
Hi, I'm Scott Miller, Business Development Officer at Midwest Bank's Lincoln branches. As a lifelong Lincolnite with over 30 years of experience in financial management, I'm here to help your business grow and succeed. My focus is building strong relationships with businesses and clients across Lincoln. Because at Midwest Bank, we believe banking is about people, not just numbers. Visit us at midwest.bank or stop by one of our Lincoln locations. Your community, your bank. Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a chance of wintry mix this morning. Otherwise, we'll see decreasing clouds throughout the day. Be breezy, the high near 39. Tonight, partly cloudy skies and the low around 23. Tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies, the light breeze. It'll be warm, the high near 58. I'm meteorologist Kyle Bucket for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement. Hey, Nebraska, this is your moment. Love Nebraska is already making noise on the court, but they're still missing one thing, a nickname. That's where you come in. Love Nebraska is giving fans the chance to submit the team's official nickname. Fans will then vote on the finalists later this season. Head to lovebneb.com/nameyourteam to submit your nickname and get in the game. Submissions end on February 22nd. Name your team, shape the legacy.
Tired of asking what's for dinner? Nourished for Life has got you covered. At Nourished, they're a local meal prep company that delivers fresh, chef-crafted, healthy meals straight to your door. Made from wholesome ingredients and ready when you are. No shopping, no chopping. Just heat, eat, and enjoy every night of the week. Fuel your busy days with balanced meals that are designed to keep you satisfied and energized. Visit nourishedforlife.co to purchase meals and taste the convenience of home-cooked comfort without the hassle.
This ain't pop. This ain't pretty. This is Southern hospitality. The Black Crows. Blues-soaked guitars, outlaw swagger. The Southern Hospitality Tour. Rock and roll the way it was meant to be. Loud, raw, and real. The Black Crows. With South Hall, August 4th. Pinewood Bowl Theater and Lincoln's Pioneers Park. Tickets on sale Friday, February 6th at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
Hey guys, it's Austin Orman. Join me and former Husker Jay Foreman this Friday, February 6th for Old School, live from Back 9 Golf, just south of 14th and Pine Lake Roads in South Lincoln. We'll tell you all you need to know about the premier indoor golf place in Lincoln while enjoying Friday afternoon action of the Waste Management Open. Stop by for giveaways, prizes, and a tour of the facility. We hope to see you there on Friday, February 6th, beginning at 3 p.m. for Old School, live from Back 9 Golf in South Lincoln.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top-quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to
to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. Final segment. Pick weeknight. Arens Tristan Gomes. Let's wrap up with some Husker football. Special team situation got sorted out. Mike Eckler officially leaves. It's been official for a while now, but down to USC. Nebraska elevates inside for their special teams coordinator. They bring in Brett Maher, new special teams coordinator. And then they also got a co-coordinator along with him, who's also elevated up within the position. I don't know. Does it make you feel less, better, or worse, better, or the same?
Honestly, I think it feels a little bit better knowing that they stayed in-house and they have the confidence of bringing guys up, knowing that they have developed a little bit as coaches. Because, I mean, that's what Nebraska talks about all the time when it comes to players, is just making sure that they're being developed, which I'm not sure if we're seeing a whole bunch. But to keep your coaches to the same standard where you believe, yeah, we can, have guys be coaching in our program and continuously build ourselves up. And those are guys that, had Mike Eckler, who, changed the name of Nebraska special teams. Like, Nebraska special teams was always like, oh, what's going to go wrong now? And last year was a weapon. And so you almost hope that you see what Eckler did last season, and unfortunately he's gone, but you have two guys that just go, all right, this is the energy that needs to come with special teams. And they've been around it. Like, they just saw Eckler do it. So we can keep that same thing going into this next season.
I'm going to say I feel probably worse.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I do think, and I keep using this example because I think it's good to point out, like, just because you were under the person who pulled it off doesn't mean you're going to be able to.
Yeah.
Like, the one I keep using, like, say DP leaves. Tristan, you've been working at the Ticket. You good to take over?
Absolutely.
Like, you kind of know the blueprint though, right?
Yeah.
Of course, we all understand the blueprint, but it's like, it's another thing to fully operate and be in control of it. So at least you have a couple of guys, and Nick Humphrey, he's the guy who's going to be alongside with him as a special teams coordinator. But that's my only fear, is like, just because you hire within does not necessarily, like, we saw the same thing with John Butler.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it could be a little bit of the younger roster as well, so I don't want to put it all on him, but it doesn't always work out just because they know the previous blueprint. They are keeping the same blueprint in place, Mike Eckler's blueprint. But I'm kind of just going to wait and see. I do think Brett Maher, he's been great for Nebraska, so I don't want to say like he's not capable of it, but you clearly saw the impact of Mike Eckler. I mean, that was finally a hire at Nebraska that we felt like we actually nailed.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first hire of any of the coordinators, it feels like, for the past few seasons, that you've heard the hype on them, and then they showed up and they backed the hype. I think Mike Eckler is the first guy that we saw, make a huge change and a huge impact on this Cornhuskers team. I think going forward, you would hope that you have guys that you can bring up in-house, though. Where for any coordinator position is just knowing that you're going to promote them and they're going to start at maybe a position coach, and then they're going to build their way up to that coordinator position. But it feels like Nebraska has been trying to do that. It hasn't worked out. And this offseason has just been super quiet, which I'm curious if that's just been their motto for this offseason, is just thinking, all right, we're not going to do all the social media. We're not going to do all the hype and make it seem like next year we're going 11-1 and we're going to be, top of the Big Ten. I think it's now just Nebraska's like, all right, we got to put in the work in silence and show up next year and be something that fans can be proud of. Because if we go in how we have been, where everyone's drinking the Kool-Aid, it makes it feel even worse.
Yeah, and I think that's the absolute right approach. I mean, I think they know what the schedule looks like. You never want to give these teams credit before. I mean, the team's not there yet. We don't know what the official team's going to look like. But, it's the road. The teams we'll have to see on the road and the teams we can see at home. And you got a lot of great teams if we're looking at last year's wins and loss totals in the Big Ten. It's going to be a tough one for Nebraska. So I think they are rightfully so being a little bit more quiet, because they're going to have to put in some serious work. If they want to be same record, to avoid a worse record. It's going to take some significant work, because even the games that we thought Nebraska would go out and win there. We went out to Minnesota and got our teeth kicked in. It wasn't close. Minnesota dominated us. And then the teams that weren't good, we competed well. We beat them. But Michigan State was not really necessarily a great team, and Childs was kind of hurt throughout that game after he took a big hit. Northwestern, it took Michigan State and Northwestern took some big special teams moments. Michigan State was a blocked punt for a touchdown, kind of kick things off. But then eventually Michigan State would come back, and then we pulled back late in the fourth. Northwestern, you turn it over, going into half, the game feels really close. Second half, you get a kick return touchdown right off the gate. Kind of save yourself there. So that's my fears. Like, I've seen special teams bail us out multiple times, and now you're losing Mike Eckler. I do appreciate the kind of more humble approach. I think that's good for this program. Is let's take a little bit of ego out, because we just haven't even been a consistent middle tier Big Ten team. But yeah, I have no idea what the expectation should be for this upcoming football team. This is the weirdest I've probably felt heading into a football season. I'm not going to lie. Usually it's pretty easy to drink the Kool-Aid. And I've been guilty of it. Sorry if I've influenced others to drink it along with me. But yeah, this is by far the weirdest I felt, because we have finally gone back to 2 bowl games.
It's the back-to-back bowl games, but I think it's how the season ended last year with the loss at Penn State, the loss against Iowa, the loss in the bowl game. So you made the bowl game. The last 3 games were rough, though. And so you go, all right, there's definitely a lot that needs to be fixed. It's going to be a tough schedule going into next year. How do we find a way to continue to build going from, 7-5 and then 7-6? How can we get to that 8 wins, especially with this tough schedule? It's not going to be by talking or, giving into the hype and making everyone think that we're going to be the greatest ever. It's just going to have to come from the work that we put in, and come fall football season, we just got to go out there and prove it, which I honestly appreciate. But yes, it does feel very weird just how much unknown there is with Nebraska football right now.
Yeah, I was. It's most apathetic. I've seen people in my circle where, I mean, just for reference, after the Utah game, that wasn't great, and then after basketball, like most guys, there's a one sports group chat, and again, they're not serious, but they were saying things like, scrap the football program and give it to the basketball team.
Yeah, should we do that with all the NIL money? Just let's turn into Kansas and just hope this basketball thing takes off. I wouldn't be opposed. But no, I think people want Nebraska football to be great. I do really appreciate Nebraska basketball filling that void and giving a lot of Husker fans something to root for.
Yeah, it just blows my people are even saying that. It's I'm so done of watching this. It's just hurt me too many times in a row. But I hope they get it right. I think everyone obviously hopes that those guys get it right, but it's a mountain to climb. I don't know where Nebraska sits. If they're in that middle tier of the Big Ten, they're certainly not in that upper echelon. But then when you go lose to Minnesota the way they did, it's tough to swallow at times. With that being said, though, we do got to get out of here. I'll ask you this as the music's playing. Is there a win total for Nebraska next year, or is it just how it looks for expectations?
Honestly, I think just how it looks based on the schedule.
Yeah.
I mean, the teams that you have on that schedule, just play them close. Don't get blown out. Don't make a fool of yourselves. And yeah, take care of the business in the games that you should win in the Big Ten, and just prove that you're almost right on the doorstep to getting to that top of the Big Ten and getting out of the middle tier. Because it's going to be tough to win as many games as they did this year. But yeah, I think it's a lot about how it looks and just how they play, really.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Is there some consistency to it, or is this super sporadic?
Yeah,
where
limit
you're
the
winning
blowouts
and then getting blown out.
Yeah.
Exactly. With that being said, though, we are running against the clock here. Don't go anywhere. We got a couple of Husker Bowlers coming up next. Kayla Starr, Jillian Martin, right here on 93.7 The Ticket. Appreciate you guys listening, but don't go anywhere.
Lincoln's